while I coax the head down.
All right. While you're coaxing the head, God, it's damn near water.
Yeah, see, yeah. Well, hey,
Fuck.
kudos to you for kudos for you for trying something new.
Damn it. And let's make sure. Here's the beauty of this, right? So we go out and we do our own homework, right? Nobody's
Right,
telling us what to write, right?
right,
Joe does his show. Nobody's telling Joe how to do his show.
right.
Aaron has his show. Nobody's telling Aaron what to put on there, right? These are all things that we want to talk about. We feel the need to talk about.
I can't tell you how many times I've been pulled over by TSA for a wiggling bulge in my pants. I mean, it's pretty much every time I fly, and
You're about to listen to Whiskey Hell Podcast, a show centered on recent news, excellent craft beer, and absolute debauchery. While the guys are getting ready, you can reach them on Twitter at whiskey_hell. You can also go to the whiskeyhellpod.com or email them at whiskeyhellpod@gmail.com. At the end, be sure to drop them a review as a thank you for the content. Looks like they're ready. Enjoy the show. And listener discretion is advised.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Saturday, December 9th, 8:26 in the evening. This is Whiskey Hell Podcast. This is the news show that looks at last week's news and gets you set up for the coming week. All the narratives, all the bullshit. We have some fun with it. Fitz, how you doing?
I'm 5x5. I'm not going to go any further than that, but I'm wearing pants. I have a shirt on. Yeah.
Oh,
So I feel pretty. I mean, that's about as prepared as you're going to get me tonight. So let's do this.
that's solid. I'm wearing shorts.
Okay.
And no shirt.
Okay. That makes sense. It's
I'm
cold
not
here.
Prepared.
It's cold.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean,
you
the pants.
need to be fully clothed.
Yeah, the pants come off only when it's business time. You know, when you got something to do in the bathroom, you got to shower, or you got to fuck. Otherwise, pants on.
All right. Well, you need to make sure that you've got different times designated for pants. That's the important thing. And you do. You've got your priorities straight.
I hope so.
Fits on if the pants fits.
Hey, if the
Fits
the pants
on pants.
wear it. Wear them. Wear the pants. Wear fits. Hell, wear me.
I'm really glad. I'm glad we start off the show with pants jokes. This is what everybody tunes in for.
I will absolutely sit on anyone's face. I mean, let's do it. Or wait.
Let's start with what beers you're drinking before you start sitting on somebody's face.
Oh, yeah.
Or somebody starts sitting on your face.
Sitting on. Okay. Mystery beer. We need a musical intro to that. Because it's kind of just my thing now. And I'm having fun with it. I really am. So this one is from Drecker. I'm pouring. Oh dear. Okay. All right. We have a calamity over here. Oh, we have a calamity. So the beer got too cold.
Oh no.
It got frozen.
Okay.
And we have a 80% head, 20% beer situation going on right now.
Is it
so
it's still frozen, or is just the head super cold?
No, it's coming out slush.
Oh.
It's coming out slush. So we're gonna have to wait. So you do your beer review here while I let this thing I coax the head down.
All right. While you're coaxing the head, if you want, hold the mystery beer until the second half.
No. I think we're fine because I'm
okay.
it's going into a warm cup. It's just
right.
when I first the initial pour, it just was like, hey, here I am. I'm gonna overflow out the top if you're not careful. Which, I mean, who hasn't been there?
Am I right?
Right?
All right. I have a Cerebral Brewing beer.
Okay.
This one's called Shadow Council. I've got a theme tonight. I'm doing dark IPAs.
Oh, okay, fun.
Yeah, totally wrong time of year, but if you're going to have an IPA, if you have to have an IPA, go with a dark one.
Absolutely.
I don't know if we're going to be able to find these particular beers, so we'll see here. You can go to cerebralbrewing.com, and you should be able to find them there.
I know this probably goes without saying, but Cerebral Brewing, they have very intelligent beers.
Yeah. They're smart. They're intellectual beers. They're kind of snobby.
Yeah, I mean, they get their snob on, but when you go to MIT and graduate with like 3 degrees, you're allowed to be a little snobby.
That's right. That's very, very true. I don't think. Let me see here. I'm not seeing it. Interesting. All right. That's okay. So it's called Shadow Council, Dark IPA,
Okay.
Chinook, Strata, Citra hops. It's only a 6.5, so nothing super heavy on this. But I saw this in another black IPA, and I decided, you know what? I haven't done a theme in a little bit, so this might be something to do. It's not a Cascadian, which is a bummer, but
Yeah.
it's still we'll see how it goes.
I mean, you're
Lot
still
ahead
in the
on this, too.
same neighborhood,
Yeah. No, that's true. All right, here we go. Super drinkable. Very subtle. Not super malty. You get a lot of pine, which you kind of expect, obviously, with
Yeah.
an IPA. Not.
Did it smooth out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a really, really, really good dark IPA. Super drinkable. Not a sweet one, and it's not a lot of citrus either, though. It's malt and hops, and that's it. Like this
Ah,
is
as
this
beer-
is this is a crushable beer.
Yeah, as beer should be.
Yeah, and it's kind of a cool art. The art's kind of cool. You've got some monks. Actually, they look like cult members. We're going to talk about cults later today, later tonight.
There's a lot
so
of them
this kind
going on
fits.
right now.
There really are. There really are.
Yeah.
Cult. We should call it cult or no cult or something like that. Play a game with it. Or
Right.
something. So, all right. Did your head adjust?
It did. It did. We can see somewhat of the semblance of a beer now. I will say, just the smell I'm getting right off the bat. It poured super thick, and not just the slushiness either. It poured like it's definitely a smoothie beer. And
Okay.
I'm smelling some IPA pininess, but I'm also smelling some pineapple. So that's what I smell. Let's see what I taste here.
So they're really crazy.
Oh my God. Holy. Oh, man.
That sounds. You okay there?
Oh my God. I shit you not. That is. Okay. So stick with me here. You're driving
Okay.
down the road, right? Okay. You're driving and you're masturbating while you're driving. Guys, I mean, right? That's what you do, especially on a
Right.
Sunday.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
And then you gotta, you're coming up to a light and you gotta make a right turn. So, you gotta put the blinker on, and you've only got 2 hands, right? And then it starts to rain. So then you're like, shit, I gotta turn my windshield wipers on, and then I gotta downshift, and it's all of a sudden there's just too much going on, and you lose your heart on. That's this beer. That's this beer. You cannot masturbate to this beer. You cannot. There's so much going on. Holy God.
So that's a Drecker. That
It is a Drecker.
definitely
Oh, yeah.
sounds like a Drecker.
For sure. not crushable. And I'll tell you, it's not because of the flavors. It's because it's so tart.
Okay.
It sticks in the back of your throat. I tried to take. Oh, you heard me cough. That was
Yeah.
legit. I was not faking it or anything. That it like it's like a little needle poking the back of your throat.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm sure there's some ladies out there that would know all about that. But
Needles poking the back of the throat.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm sure there are some.
Oh my god, yeah. Okay, IPA for sure. Um, fruited. Definitely getting some pineapple, maybe some lime or lemon in there. Um, I'm gonna say they threw in some vanilla or something to try and calm it down, but they failed.
Okay.
Um, and with Drecker, like I mean, they have so many beers that fall into what I just said.
Right.
So I have no idea how we would even guess which one it is. But we're definitely it's not. I don't think it's one of the marshmallows. Don't think it's one of those. It doesn't. There's no fluffiness to this thing. This thing is like I'm gonna throat fuck you and you're gonna like it.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah. All right. So let's do the big reveal here. Oh yeah. Okay. This is the slang du jour, the sour a la
Um,
mode, the tropical crisp. Yeah. Okay. And I've had this beer before, but boy, it really surprised me right out of the gate.
they do some pretty well. I mean, it's Drecker, so they do crazy stuff anyway. But this is the slang du jour that they have on the site: wild berry cinnamon roll,
Yeah.
and it's a sour smoothie.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely from the previous season. Um, Malt, they used pale two row and oats. Hops, they used the Hallertau Blanc. Flora, I'm not going to pronounce that. Gimmicks are mango, pineapple, coconut, granola, lactose. So, wow, this thing is just, I mean, it is unapologetically really delicious.
So
I mean,
it's
I like
just
it,
that much going on.
but yeah, there's just too much going on. It's like you have to take a step back for a second and go, okay, what am I actually getting here? Because it's so complex. Now that I'm reading granola, I'm like, actually, yeah, there's a little granola finish there. So I see what they're going with that, or where they're going with that. So, and I love that. I think it's on most Drecker cans, but they give a little disclaimer. Attention, this beer contains a significant amount of fruit, so please keep cold at all times. Oh, we kept it cold. We kept it so cold it froze. Anyway, I'm happy with it. We'll see as it warms up because it has some warming up to do for sure. Um, we'll see how I like it at the end of the night here.
See, and that's just proof that you can do an IPA that doesn't suck,
Yeah. Yep.
right? I
Yep.
mean, it's really hard to find them, but that is proof that you can do something and have some fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have no idea the ABV here, so um, we could be in for a hell of a night. I don't know.
Tabby, thank you for your service. By the way, 38 hours with pants on is tough. Congratulations on making it through that.
Yeah, congratulations. That's big.
But yeah, you did hear that right. Sour berry cinnamon roll was the beer that I found on the site. So
Yeah.
welcome
and
to Calliope for joining the show. Cheers.
yeah,
Sorry,
welcome.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say she said story time with Fitz. My whole I mean I'm Irish, and not only am I Irish, I have the storylines on the side of my eyes, like I was born with them. So I pretty much see the whole world through music or storytelling. Like that's how I see my world. So
Storylines? I've never heard of that before.
yeah, the like crow's feet. People call them crow's feet sometimes, but people that have those coming out of their eyes, the deeper they are, the more storytelling they do. And mine have only gotten deeper as I get older. That's what she said. Yeah, so I like telling stories.
Huh.
I mean, before up until about what 500-600 years ago, 99% of human history was passed down through stories
Right.
and not written. Like that was just spoken, mouth to ear. We lost something when we went to whatever we are now. And so I'm just
We
keeping the
lost.
tradition alive.
We lost originality. We lost communication skills.
Charisma.
But what we lost was we picked up in TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Which, there's some ladies on there that make it worthwhile.
All right, let's get to some housekeeping. Another congratulations to Gray's Tap Room. Fantastic
Yeah.
show. You guys should check them
Yeah,
out.
well done. Well done.
Yeah, they just finished a 24-hour charity drive for the Kentucky Humane Society, and it was fun. We got to join them for a couple hours last night. Ton of our friends were on there. Aaron, his missus were on there right before us, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Just a really great time, and I hope they did a lot of good for the Humane Society there. If anybody does want to go and donate, you guys can go to www.kyhumane.org/donate/ if anybody's interested in doing that. It's still,
Dude, how pimp
wide
is it that if you live in Kentucky, you can literally start any of your businesses with KY. And everyone thinks you're going to finish with jelly, but you don't. You don't.
No.
You surprise them and you come in with the Humane Society. KY Humane Society. That's dope, dude. We might have to move to Kentucky. Sorry. That's just pretty cool.
At Gray's Taproom Pod on X, you guys can follow those guys. It's a fantastic follow, and you can definitely download them pretty much everywhere. So go check them out. Aaron had two shifts.
Wow.
I didn't realize you were on this morning at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Wow.
Wow, he pulled a Fitz.
Good
Because
Lord.
the last time you guys had a major run, I was on there. God, I was on there too much. You guys were probably like, okay, he's calling in again. Everybody play it cool. This is the last one.
First time caller, long time listener.
Yeah, long time listener. 8th time caller, long time listener. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. We got really random and really just silly and fun, and I always love talking not only to the Grace Tap Room, but and any of our community that we have going on. It's a really strong knit community at this point, and I'm just honored to be a part of it. And we just always have fun. My God, what other part of your life can you be like, every time I get with these people, I have fun? You can't do it with family, you can't do it with coworkers, but these people I have fun with every time.
No, there's no way I can do this with coworkers.
That's what I'm saying.
I would be fired.
Yeah.
Hey, we had some polls we put out this week. We had a few things come up that needed to be fleshed out. What are your thoughts on Taylor Swift? Should she have been the Time Person of the Year?
I mean, you know my thoughts here. I'll just so that they're public. I don't have a problem with her as a person. And what I mean by that, I mean her politics, yes, but again, the whole point of this show is that we can have a healthy public debate, a town hall debate where people can have very different politics, very different views, and still be able to get along. So I'm willing to overlook her her politics and her extreme liberalism. That's fine. I'm a moderate. She's not. Whatever. And I think she does a lot of really cool things for her fans. She's very fan centric in what she does and how she treats her fans. She also donates a lot of money to a lot of good causes. So I think in general, she's a good person. However, none of that makes her the person of the year. Like, if you have a lot of money, you should be donating. If you're an entertainer, you should be about your fans. Like, that to me is like the minimum. Like, what is she doing to go above and beyond? And I know a lot of people, I mean, give me any two of the people I work with any day of the week over 50 Taylor Swifts. I mean, I know some really hardworking people that are literally going and grinding it out for less than $50,000 a year. And they keep showing up and asking for more. So I don't know. She should not have been person of the year. I don't mind her as a person, as an individual, but person of the year, come on. We used to have people like Richard Feynman and physicists, scientists, philanthropists who actually started a movement and got a lot of people to go help out at a thing. Presidents.
Hitler.
Hitler, right? But not a fucking entertainer. I mean, literally, all she does is sing and shake her booty. But that's a statement to where we are. That's who we are as a culture now. That's our person of the year. So, do I agree with it? No. But am I surprised? No. What's your take?
I'm lost. I'm really lost in the whole person of the year thing. I don't think entertainers bring that much, and I know I'm going to get in trouble with one of our listeners. Buttercup is a big,
I know, right?
Huge, massive Swiftie. But you also have, and I think a lot of that is because she is a positive role model for girls, women,
for young ladies. Yeah,
ladies.
And I totally agree with that for sure.
And I think that's incredibly important. I really, really do. I'm blown away that Dylan Mulvaney didn't make it. I would have thought that we would have had some kind of shenanigans like that. How did we not get woke all over it?
Yeah.
I am surprised. So, I mean, in that way, I think I'm thankful for that. But when you think about impactful people, but then again, I'm going down this list, right? Like you're talking about. So we've had 14 different leaders, United States leaders, presidents, right? So Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy. I would put obviously Kennedy above her.
Saying, oh yeah. Sure.
I don't know that I'd put Obama and Trump, and I definitely wouldn't put Biden above it.
No way.
And I know this is loaded. I know it's loaded. It's like the most impactful, right? Like the most important person of the year for society, culture, and things like that. But I guess if I was going to go ahead and have a most important person of the year, I would definitely be going a different direction. It'd be something that it'd be more altruistic, I guess. It would have to have something more to do with what they're giving back to furthering science. You know, someone like Musk, and I don't want to get on the Musk bandwagon here. That's not the point. But, you know, scientifically, moving science, robotics, social, First Amendment type things, way more impactful. But, you know, she just banked $1 billion. I think she's the first entertainer to actually make $1 billion on tour. And I don't think her tour is even done yet. But that I guess is the angle that they're taking too.
Yeah, well, and adjusted for inflation, that's only about I think $50 that she made. So I mean, if we're not taking that into account,
10 spot.
Yeah, it's a 10. So no, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I understand why they did it. I also don't have to agree with their reasoning and why they did it. Aaron had a good point, and actually, I know it's funny to say, but it's actually the truth. You know, her entire catalog of songs is about her shitty taste in men and how she's trying to get over the last breakup. And that's actually true. And so if you're talking about a good role model for women, you know, she'd be a good role model. If I had a daughter, I would say, okay, here's what you don't do. You don't go, I mean, have your fun, go out and fuck, excuse me, everything moving. But then when you're ready to settle down, look for a solid, stable, good guy who knows how to handle himself in a fight, is going to go to work for you every day, and is still going to be tender with you at the end of the day. That's who you look for. And that's not who she's singing about at all. She's singing about a bunch of chumps. And so, yeah, is she really that great of a role model? I don't know. Anyway.
All right. Here's the last few Time People of the Year. All right. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pit Taylor versus the previous one, and we'll see how many that she beats. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Taylor and Voldemar Zelensky.
Oh, easily Taylor.
Okay.
I mean Vladimir.
Vladimir. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like saying Voldemort, but yeah.
I know you do. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew who we were talking about.
Yeah. 2021 Elon Musk.
No way. Elon's way more of a powerhouse when it comes to changing society, changing culture.
Agreed. 2020 Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
God, you throw the idiot Kamala in there, and I mean, how could you not say Taylor Swift is better?
But at the time, that we were in a place where we had to get away from Trump. Oh my God, it was so horrible. We had to get away from Trump.
I understand why they did it. I mean, the two of them together in a room couldn't solve a tic-tac game. They couldn't play checkers with each other. They're both. I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised, but no, I don't think. I mean, they have single-digit IQs, so no. I think
Taylor.
I do think Taylor's. I think she's actually intelligent. I do.
Yeah, I agree. Greta Thunberg.
Fuck Greta. Fuck that fucking fuck. No way. Just on moral grounds alone. Although, isn't Taylor a pretty big supporter of Greta? Yeah. So I mean,
yeah. She's ultra lib. She truly is.
Both of them, in my opinion, both of them can buy some oceanfront property and die in the floods coming that they think are coming.
which will never actually come.
Which is not actually going to happen. So I guess what I'm saying is, go away and leave us alone.
I don't know Jamal Khashoggi, the Capital Gazette, Maria Resso.
It was that whole group of the Guardians that they named them, these journalists that were hard hitting and digging up all the shit on Trump. I mean, I don't care. I guess I would go with them because at least they have like an actual job.
I could see that. The Silence Breakers, 2017, representing those who spoke out against sexual harassment.
Oh, the Me Too movement. See, and I put Taylor right in there. And listen, that movement needed to happen. I'm not saying
Absolutely.
It shouldn't have happened. Because there's a lot of naughty shit going out there. I mean, especially, God, have you seen Weinstein? God, what a disgusting individual.
Yeah, that was the whole Weinstein, Spacey. That was all those guys.
Yeah.
So
I mean, good for them for being brave enough to finally just come out and be like, hey, this needs to stop.
Yeah. So, okay, so not to belabor it and go too far, but I can see where Taylor does have more value than some of the previous winners for sure. Our listeners did not go with that. 31.5% were yes, I love her, and 68.5% were no, her cult scares me. I loaded that one a little bit. I know I did.
You did.
But,
yeah.
89 votes were cast though. So, and it was interesting. I had we got some good feedback from some folks though. Ben J, her cult doesn't scare me. I just feel sorry for them. Rena Friedman Watts, she's a podcaster that we just came in contact with a little bit ago. It's the Better Call Daddy show. So she likes them. The Simplest podcast. You don't have to love her or her music to still recognize her contributions to society. Tabby, oh no, I'm good.
Her contribution, see, that's where I'm that's where maybe I'm gonna show my ignorance a little bit, because I'm not sure what her contribution to society is. I think
it's positive role model. I think that's, I mean, for young women, that's the only thing I can come up with.
Because her music is just, a really catchy beat, and then again just singing about and a lot of auto-tune, and then just singing about relationships and how she's moving on. So I'm not sure how that contributes to society, other than I listen to some shitty music too. We've talked about my taste in music and its range. It's very broad. But also I wouldn't put some of my shitty music, I wouldn't put those people up as Time Person of the Year.
Well, she's not like we were saying. I mean, she's not advancing society.
No.
Right? She's not making the world a better place from the standpoint of helping to correct any of the stuff that's going on. Right?
No,
She's not into free speech. She's not into any of the movements, thankfully, I guess. Can you imagine if you got a ton of Swifties involved? If you sent all the Swifties over to Israel and said, go free Palestine. That's a lot of people that would go. So I guess in that respect, she's not inciting riots with all of her followers.
No, she's not. Hey, not to end this whole discussion, but I want you to, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but I want you to go to Twitter and I want you to type in Napoleon Dynamite in drag.
Oh, yes. I've seen this.
Have you?
Yes. I'll do it.
Pretty fucking great. And it is one of those things, like once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, I'll try and bring it up here for those who are in chat. But once you do look at Napoleon Dynamite and then you look at her, and it is concerning. And
Well,
there's
it's
actually one. Yeah, there she is right now. There's one picture. I've seen the one that you're talking about.
The side by side. Yeah, the side by side is like, whoa. That's totally who that is.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I guess our listeners can go out and look that up for yourself. But there is a conspiracy theory going around the internet. And as we know, the internet always wins. But there's a conspiracy theory going around that she is just actually Napoleon Dynamite in drag. And it's pretty believable. You know, that actor that played Napoleon Dynamite, he did have some nice lips. And if you just put some real red lipstick on there, bam, you got Taylor Swift.
Who was that?
I don't even know his name. And has he been in anything since? I think he's done like a few cameos and stuff. But he basically just did that fucking movie and then mic dropped and walked the fuck out. Was like, here, have this, and now you'll never see me again.
Oh, it's John Heater. He's been in stuff.
Okay.
But not a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I will say this beer, I said it's like you can't just down it, but it's going down really surprisingly quickly for me. I kind of can't put it down. It's addictive. It's like that kind of pain where you just like, thank you, sir, may I have another? Like hot sauce. Like you just want it to get hotter.
Huh. Now, are you getting any other flavors now?
The pineapple is just overwhelming. You know what this tastes like? Pineapple sherbet. If you were to like mix in a little bit of pine tar and then squeeze some fresh lemon juice on the top. That's what this tastes like. And then maybe some fresh granola.
Interesting. All right.
It really is. This is one of those beers where you go, holy shit. How can this be the same thing as like a Bud Light? Or how can this be
the same vein?
The same beverage as a Guinness? Like you can do some wild, wild shit with beer, man. Holy cow.
We got to do this one. Can we go straight to Lindsey Graham?
That too many Palestinian civilians have been killed. Do you agree with that?
Well, tell us how to do it differently. Yeah, what is too many people dying in World War II after Pearl Harbor? Did the American public worry about how many people were dying to destroy Tokyo and Berlin? I know this is not the same, but it's similar.
It's not the same, but similar. He's trying to compare Hiroshima, and Pearl Harbor, to what's happening in the Middle East.
Yep. And I'm not gonna get into the weeds on this because I know what all of our listeners who are intelligent, smart people and have done their research, what they're immediately gonna say. I'm not going into the conspiracy stuff or anything, but I will just say this: I still have yet to see definitive proof that either A, Hamas actually snuck into Israel and pulled off October 7th and killed all those people, and if that's true, if that's how that happened, How is it that the best intelligence agency on the planet let that happen? I just think about that, because you're talking about the best of the best, and they thwart. We hear about them thwarting threats all the time, but this one just slipped through. Or either that happened and they're completely incompetent, or this is a false flag operation. And then you have Lindsey Graham get on TV and try and compare what we did to Japan and Berlin. And again, you can argue false flags on December 8th with, Pearl Harbor and all that FDR knew it was coming. I'm not going there. Either way, you can't, it's not comparable. We dropped nukes. We firebombed these cities that were all made out of wood. I mean, a huge loss of life. It's
Massive.
Not the same. Massive. And not only that, but the people in Palestine that are basically open air prisoners. I mean, it's basically a giant prison yard that they live in. They're captives already. And they are just leveling Gaza. They are leveling Gaza. It's sick to watch. I don't know how you justify that.
The rhetoric, though, the change in the rhetoric, I think that's the thing that really stands out to me. Here's John Kirby from this week.
Yeah, this was odd.
This is on Ukraine.
God,
and so we can't support Ukraine. Their chief advisor yesterday said they're likely to lose this war if they lose U.S. support. And Putin gets all of Ukraine, then what? Then where does he go? Because right then, he's up against the eastern flank of NATO. And if you think the cost of supporting Ukraine is high now, just imagine how much higher it's going to be, not just in national treasure, but in American blood, if he starts going after one of our NATO allies. Because as the president also said, we take our Article 5 commitments very seriously.
So, translation, if you don't give us more money, we're going to start sending boots on the ground.
Yep.
And we've been kind of waiting for that to happen. That's been lingering for quite a while.
Yeah.
But the change in tone, the rhetoric that's coming out now, that is the most inflammatory. Hey, get out there and call your congressmen and make sure they vote yes on the Ukraine package. I can't believe this is where we're at. We're actually we're actually putting out propaganda, trying to get money from our citizens. It's extortion.
Yeah,
it's extortion.
It is. I'm glad you said that word. That was the word I was going to use. And also, it also ignores the fact that we were the ones, and by we I mean the UN, NATO, were the ones that broke our promise to Russia and to Putin to not encroach any further east. We kept doing that and kept pushing those borders back. So now he's pushing back. And then Kirby says this, imagine if he just takes all of Ukraine, he'll be right on our eastern border. No, the eastern border has shifted way further east than it should have. We were the aggressors. He's defending his territory and what he sees as his people. Those are mostly Russian people that live in Donetsk. Those are some major mental gymnastics when you can be like, yeah. I know that I threw the first punch and I split his lip, but how dare he come back and hit me? That's not fair. Really? Because when I grew up, if you got hit in the mouth, it was expected that you hit back. So now he hits back, and now we're gonna call bully. I just, goddamn. And the fucking problem is most of the American public is being led by the nose on this, and they're like, gosh, yeah, Putin's really dangerous, and I don't want my sons and daughters going over there, so we better give more money. Ukraine's done. They know they're done. Putin knows they're done. We know they're done. Yeah, let them be done. Let that fucking horse die.
Well, they can't quit, Fitz.
Oh, God.
Because the Kremlin has recruited tens of thousands of prisoners for its Stormzy units, including at least 2 cannibals.
I love
this
how
is Newsweek.
They know this, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is Newsweek. So this is a story that came out in Newsweek this week. That's the kind of rhetoric that we're throwing in on top of the word that's coming out of Kirby and Graham and the rest of the It's just bizarre. And thank you, Calliope. Yes, I don't. How do we know it's just two? I mean, times are hard. You know, you get a leg, you throw it in the freezer.
Well, I mean, don't they have like I don't know, some kind of Jeffrey Dahmer university over there? I mean, they must. It's Russia. They're animals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think they teach this stuff. So no, it's just it's so over the top ridiculous. And if someone's out there and this is your first time listening to our show, number one, I apologize because you're getting Whiskey Hell raw. But number two, if you actually believe this shit, you have to just like, to Calliope's point, how do we know there's two? Like, which two are we talking about here? Are you sure there's not 10? Are you sure there's not 0? And haven't we been hearing about them using Russian prisoners basically since the beginning of the war? Why is this news again?
Yes, because it's catchy.
Yeah. Right.
Total number of convicts who have been offered presidential pardons in exchange for 6 months of fighting in Ukraine exceeds 100,000. This is not the first time that anybody has started a war and gone to the prisons.
Oh no!
This happens often. Okay, this is not new.
No.
First of all, it's just throwing in the shock bait of cannibalism. I think that was the most ridiculous part of that one. So.
Well, and you know, if we remember last week, we did have the sun that was going to cannibalize. So now
that's right.
If Russia can harness the power of the sun, they now have 3 cannibals on their side, and we have 0 because we're good people, and so that means we're gonna die.
And we better fund the war.
We better fund the war because we don't want our children being eaten by these people and the sun.
All right, let's pivot to something that's a little bit crazier. How about a exploding house in Virginia?
Boy, this one's gotten weird.
It's gotten very weird. That's December 4th this happened.
Yeah, because the explosion itself, I mean, you're in like a nice, peaceful, neighborhood in Virginia, which they have plenty. And this house just, I mean, it was rigged to blow. This wasn't a gas explosion. I mean, you can even see after the explosion, the embers of like all of his papers that I'm sure he wanted incinerated when he died. They keep going up. And I mean, this was an explosion. This wasn't like the windows blew out. Cool. This was like, no, there's nothing left of the house. And then you start finding out who this Yu guy was. What was his name? John Yu?
Yeah.
And he used to work. Was he CIA? I think it was CIA. He used to work for the government.
We can go through the thread and
yeah.
You can verify some of this online. I didn't do any real deep diving. I didn't get real serious about verifying it. But it's a really good thread. It's from AP Philosophy, AP HILOSOPHAE on Twitter. It actually comes up as cultural husbandry. This is it's a historian that's out there. Did a deep dive on who this guy is, and we'll kind of go step by step a little bit. So the house was 844 North Burlington Street in Arlington. So you guys can Google Maps this. This James Yu's father worked at American University, which is known for being a CIA.
Yeah, that's
basically proving ground.
Yeah, it's a CIA farm.
Yeah,
I mean that's like a farm league.
Right, and one of the papers that he penned was a plan to retake North Korea with bioagents for president of South Korea. There's a picture here. So you can kind of get the connection for this guy. James Yu, the guy who blew up in the house, he had a long career, but his most notable job was head of global information and physical security at Global Crossing. Now, Global Crossing is actually an espionage central espionage platform for international spying, and it's still in operation today. The founding person for this global crossing was Gary Winnick. He died last month.
Weird.
Yeah, it's
Do
crazy,
tell.
right? Yeah, American billionaire. He suddenly died. There's also, it goes on that this guy was. Let me see if I can get back to that.
Well, he went a little. Well, first of all, both his mom and dad were both government spooks too. His mom,
Right.
his mom was the mouthpiece for a anti-Korean news radio.
Yep.
That was actually a wing of the CIA, also propaganda type shit. And then, of course, his dad. And then, so, of course, when you have two parents that are that heavily tied into, geopolitics and the government, the U.S. government, well, I mean, it makes sense. You're just going to be funneled right in. And he was. And like McShane said, he became the head of a pretty prestigious arm of the CIA, and then did he retire or was he fired? I wasn't clear on that.
I think he actually retired.
Yeah, okay.
But this global crossing that he was a part of, the members of the board included Secretary of Defense William Cohen, CEO of J.P. Morgan Private Bank Elena Lagosmiano, and Assistant Secretary of Defense Richard Pearl. Elena was also Gary Winnick's personal banker. I'm reading this straight off the guy's post, and it wasn't written exceptionally well. Global Crossing was a front company and a global spy network that focused on tapping intercontinental fiber optic lines and intercepting communications, both domestic and international, between the U.S., Western Europe, Japan, and Singapore. What was blown up a few months ago?
I believe it was some fiber optic cables.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine the shit this dude knew. Imagine the shit this dude knew. If his company that was their job, was to tap those lines.
It makes you think. It really makes you think that this is there is more going on there. They're just in a dude who's done and doesn't want to go. No. He doesn't want to go on anymore. He won't take me alive, copper. And to Aaron's point, that house was blown up by someone who knew what they were doing. That was a Jason Bourne type explosion.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, the house is obliterated, and both the neighboring houses were fine. So like they knew how to just detonate and damage.
That wasn't a gas leak.
No, I mean that was a 9/11. Let's drop the building straight down so we don't hurt anything else, except Building 7, which never got hit. But let's not go there. Interestingly enough, too, I saw a TikTok. I should have sent it to you and Hefe, but it at the time it just seemed a little bit too far out there, and maybe it is. Maybe it is, but I'll just say quickly. I'll just synopsize it. They were talking about James Yu here and how connected he was to the government, and then of course he's gone, and then they start talking about the guy who recently shot up UNLV, and how that story got buried quick. Like yes, there's been a shooting at UNLV. There were several victims, and then have you heard shit about it since?
Nope,
like nothing. So apparently that guy was ex-CIA. He was a professor there. He had been sort of spouting in class some anti-government, like we need to take out the Bidens because they're corrupt kind of stuff. And apparently one of the conflicting views is that some of the people on campus who were shot by the government agents that came in, whether they were police or FBI, that came onto campus and sort of started shooting some of his students who were like, yeah, professor, you're right. And so they're also dead. So apparently they're trying to pin it.
I thought he was there. I thought he was there for a job interview.
Oh, right. And that's the other conflicting thing. But he actually was a professor there. He was not there for an interview. He was a professor there. And again, this is where it gets really fog of war. He was either fired or he was about to be fired. And then he popped off. Apparently, allegedly. So that's another one. So you have both of these stories coming out where at the very least we can question the narratives.
Oh yeah.
And they both happen in the same week. And then you start digging on this guy, on James Yu, and you found out yes, one of his compatriots also died last month. And I wonder like how far those connections start to go. Where like, I mean, are they just one by one, as quietly as possible, eliminating
loose
their
ties?
Yeah, they're cutting off the loose ties. And this guy just happened to have rigged his house to blow, so we all found out about it. I don't know. I don't know.
So definitely take a look at that in the show notes. You guys can do your own investigation on that. It was fascinating, though. It was fascinating to kind of dig into a little bit.
Yeah, very fun
and,
thread.
And that was a serious explosion. You could hear it for 4 miles.
Right.
I mean, they heard it at the White House.
Right. Which,
and
I mean, you know, Arlington, Virginia is one of those counties. And I believe the three, it might be 5. I don't know. It's an odd number and it's more than one. So it's either 3 or 5 or 7. But I'll just say 3 of the richest counties in the world, like the 3 richest,
Yep.
like average household income, they're in Arlington, Virginia, surrounding Washington, D.C. They're in the belt line around D.C. Now, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That there is so much fucking money being thrown at these people, and they want to be close to where the spout is.
That's where the action is.
Yeah, so they all build their homes there. They have their lives there. And so for him, I mean, this is kind of a big statement. This is like a fuck you. Like, yeah, I live in your neighborhood, bitch. I'm going to blow this shit. That's pretty big. Yeah.
So what I read came out well after the actual event happened. Now, this is from Nick Sorter. He's pretty far right, so take it for a grain of salt. But no, I'm not saying he's wrong here, but this is the kind of the character assassination notes that came out on this guy.
Yeah.
Right away. Okay. He's a far leftist that posts anti-white hatred and quotes from Noam Chomsky. He accused his neighbors of being spies on social media just 3 days ago. He had a previous encounter with the FBI. He filed countless frivolous lawsuits against his own sister and wife. He was the former head of global security at the U.S. government's Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States. So, yeah, the guy probably had some stuff going on. But if you couple this with what we just talked about, with all the spy ties and the intercontinental fiber,
Yeah.
it sounds to me like somebody took him off the.
Yeah. He was a piece.
They were
that
done
just
with him.
was. Yeah, he was a piece that had gotten to the end of his usefulness and simultaneously knew too much, and away you go. I why do they always have to bring Noam Chomsky into this? I'm not saying I agree with Noam on everything, but you know what? Everything I've read from Noam Chomsky has made me like, those aren't quick reads. Those are, you read a paragraph and then you put it down and you fucking think about it. Like, do I agree with this or don't I? But at least he's getting you to think.
Right.
But this is like the 3rd or 4th dude that's been suicided that they're like, well, he was reading Noam Chomsky. It's like, why are you picking him out? Next, they're going to go after Charles Bukowski. Like, fuck you. Like, leave these people alone. They're dead and gone. These were ideas they were putting out there. Fucking leave them alone. God damn. And, you know, we see, what's his name? God damn it. Why can't I think of it now? The Las Vegas fucking
He's not even
crazy,
dead.
Crazy dude. Hunter S. Thompson. Jesus, I knew I'd think of it. They're gonna start dragging his name through the dirt next. And it just, like, leave these people alone, man. They were just spouting ideas. This is how they lived, how they thought about the world.
Yeah, I mean, he was a philosopher, right?
Exactly.
I mean, there wasn't anything. Well, it's an attack on critical thinking. So there's that.
Exactly. That's what I mean. You keep seeing this stuff like, well, he was reading some pretty influential philosophers, so he's probably up to no good. I read philosophy. Does that mean you're going to blow my house up? Fuck you guys. Anyway.
I don't know. Interesting stuff.
I'm stepping down off my soapbox now.
It's good fun.
It is good fun, and it is interesting. Hey, how's your beer treating you?
I kind of hate it, and I'm going to
really?
call an audible. I'm going to go a completely different direction. I think when I'm done here.
Nice. I love it. Hey, best nights are when McShane calls an audible.
I mean, it's good, but as it warms up, it's super hoppy, and it's just malty. It's malty, but it's super hoppy. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not my kind of dark IPA.
Yeah.
I was hoping.
Hoping
But it's
against
okay.
all hope. Well, I'm running on E here, so I need to reload.
Okay. Well, we can do that. We'll reload and we'll get back after it in just a minute.
All right, banger.
Hefe, thank you for making it.
Hey,
How's it going?
my pleasure. How you guys doing?
You know,
I mean,
we're doing well. We've got a full boat of friends and family in chat. We've got Elle, Joe, Calliope, Aaron. Tabby was here too. Tabby disappeared. But she's also, I'm sure she's wiped out from the show yesterday. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the latest and greatest at the casino? I know it's been a rough week. Not a lot of tippers. Any good people stories?
Not really. We've had a couple of cutoffs. That got really mouthy with security. That was kind of exciting. The cutoffs when they, drink too much and they have to go.
Yeah.
They get kicked out for usually 24 hours or sometimes it's 8 hours, depending on, I guess, how much of a dick they are.
Yeah. Like it's just a go home and sober up kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah. Like you didn't do anything, over the line bad. You're just too drunk. So go away. But who we have here tonight is Elton John.
Oh yeah?
Impersonator.
Uh-huh. So Elton Johnny.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I had two guys sitting at my blackjack table and their two women came up and they're like, it's time to go. And the one guy is like, yeah, that sounds good, let's go. And the other guy, I guess they're all married. Well, not all married, but you know what I mean. He's like, nah, I don't know. I think I just want to play. And he's totally playing it off. And then once he finally got them to go, he's like, God damn it, I don't want to fucking go to that show. Like he was not gonna go, but he was playing it off like, yeah, I'm on the fence, but I think I'll just stay here.
I'm just
That's
not
funny.
feeling it. I'm not just.
And
I'm just not feeling it.
We've all been there. We've all
yeah.
been there. Oh yeah. That's funny. So McShane's got a story that we definitely need to talk about, but really quick before we head to this story, your security at your casino, in general, are they like just some big scary looking dudes, or are they the kind of like ninja security that you don't see them coming and all of a sudden they're just there?
Dude, we have a little bit of everything here.
Yeah.
We've got the big dudes that could fuck you up. We've got like the smaller guys that are like stealthy, and we got like the older tired guys.
Oh shit! No, those are the scary ones. Oh yeah, they're the guys that like 2 knives is 1 knife kind of guys. Like you they don't leave the house with any less than like 4 projectiles.
Right. But yeah, we got it all.
Nice.
We even got girls, a couple of girls working here.
Yeah, they like ex-military, or they're just ex-cops, or they just like to fuck people up, or all the above.
Do they listen to
I
Taylor
don't really-
Swift?
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm not really get to know you kind of guy. I just see them in their little uniforms.
Well, I mean, makes me feel good. I'm glad you're safe at least.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
All right, McShane. Yeah. What do we got here?
So I don't know. I know Fitz, you're in an area that doesn't have sports betting, but Hefe and I both are. There is a study out that is saying that men are not having sex because of sports betting. Does that get in the way of you having sex?
I don't really see how. I mean, any more than, watching sports for fun or playing games on your phone. It's the same. I mean, why are they targeting sports betting?
Yeah, that's kind of the question I asked too. Like, how is this any different than? I mean, I would think watching porn would be more detrimental to your sex life at home than betting on sports. Because, like, listen, ladies, if you don't know, we can do two things at once. I mean,
don't you set the bet? Don't you set the bet and then you like kick back and
Well, exactly.
I
That's
can
what I'm
move
saying.
on to
Like,
other things.
we can be super efficient with that shit. We can set the bet in 30 seconds or less. And I mean, that's okay. Here's the deal. When you say I'm going to go into the bathroom and freshen up, what the fuck do you think we're doing?
Yeah.
We don't have to freshen up. We're already hard. We're ready to go. You go freshen up. I'm going to place a couple of bets. I would think that's actually part of the fucking ceremony for the guy.
It's foreplay. Hold on.
It's foreplay.
I'm
Thank
putting
you.
a parlay in.
Thank you. It's foreplay.
I am more of the type of I am more of a set the bet and then watch this, keep an eye on the score kind of a guy. But if there's if there's a girl with me, I'm not going to be doing that. If I'm working, I'm not going to be doing that. If it's just me sitting at home by myself, then yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on the score because there's nothing else to do. There's nobody else there. But I'm not gonna let it, get in the way of like going out to dinner with some nice young lady. Like if Buttercup wanted to go to dinner, I wouldn't have my phone out being like, hang on, put, one finger up, like, wait, I got to see if LeBron makes his shot.
Yeah, hold on. Shh. I know you have something to tell me, but shh.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that the story here, right? The headline was Oracle of Wall Street: Men aren't having sex because of sports betting. But then when you get into the article, it's actually more about how sports betting is probably impacting housing. The basis of her argument is that young men are getting more pleasure betting on their cell phones, hitting a parlay or a prop bet than by going out and meeting a young lady. And she's also making that claim that that's taking away money from going out and buying a house, which, okay, but if I'm making a $10 or $20 parlay bet or even a $100 parlay bet, that's not really taking away from me going out and buying a $700,000 house that's 40% overpriced.
No. Mm-hmm. And also on top of it, like, are we really blaming sports betting, or are we going to say that COVID kind of fucking killed going out?
Yeah.
Like, there's plenty of young men going out on the fucking prowl in 2019. And then that shit came to a close, and none of us have really gone back to doing it.
Now, does this have anything to do with Kim Jong-un crying?
I would love to hear how.
Well, if we have young men that are spending more time betting sports than they are going out and getting laid and getting people pregnant, maybe maybe North Korea needs to look at their sports betting, because Kim Jong-un cried the other day in front of thousands of women as he calls on them to have more children to halt the country's falling birth rate.
Yeah, I mean,
was that a hard enough pivot?
No, it's actually, I mean, it's a real thing. Population collapse is a real thing. Asia, they're being hit the hardest. Russia is up for a big population collapse, and don't think that we're off the table. We're in for a big one too.
Wasn't it Italy? Wasn't it Italy that had like no childbirths for
like 6 months or something?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of European countries. I mean, I think it's cultural. I also think it's just health wise. we're all not eating as healthy as we should, or we don't have the bodies we used to, so we're less virile. But
and
I mean,
everybody
it's
got
coming.
vaxxed.
And then that's that too. We don't know what effect that has had, or if we do know, nobody's talking about it. I mean, I think the only country that actually has a net positive on their birth rates is India. And they already have so many fucking people.
Well,
that's kind of scary.
Israel, too.
Israel, yeah, they do.
Israel
You're right.
also has an extremely high birth rate.
Well, look at those women, though. My God.
Oh, tell me about it.
They're all fucking smoke shows, every one of them. What is that? Do all the hot people move to Israel?
I don't know, but my next
Jesus,
beer is
even
going to be dedicated to all of them.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean,
So the two stories obviously don't have anything to do with each other, but it's interesting that these are some of the kind of the stories that are coming up right now, right? Now all of a sudden we're starting to talk about birth rate being a thing. We're getting more uppity, from country to country to country, being a little bit more aggressive in our borders, and we saw that we have Venezuela and Guyana have tensions now. A border crisis that's actually been going on for over a century, but now it's getting a little bit more serious since Venezuela is trying to take 70%. I think we're going to start seeing more of this stuff. I don't think this is going to go away. I think it's frustrating, especially when you look at the immigration pieces. As the birth rates fall, you're going to get more immigration pushed, and I'm firmly in that camp that's one of the reasons why all of these countries are allowing immigration just go run rampant. I think that's a big piece of it.
I do too. Yeah. I do too.
All right.
I'd like
you
to
heading
know-
back in? Oh,
I'd like to know what that feels like.
to
which part?
have a lower birth rate?
No, to hit a parlay.
Oh, you're still stuck on the betting, huh? Well,
No, I gotta go.
mean, yeah. All right.
All right, have fun.
Well, hopefully it's a better night. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, see you in an hour.
All right. Later.
So anyway, wasn't sure how we were going to go and squeeze that Kim Jong-un crying in. That was pathetic.
It was pathetic. I mean, it is a real thing. Population collapse is a real thing, but nature sort of sorts itself out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We always talk about the rabbits that overpopulate, and then the wolves and the predators move in, the owls, and they take them out. And plus a bunch of them die of starvation because there's not enough food. I mean, that's the balance that nature is constantly doing right now. As we talk on this podcast, there is some species that has overpopulated an area, and they are going through a major population collapse right now. And that's the way it's supposed to be. And so
we're going to fight it as much as we possibly can.
Sure. But if you're shooting blanks, there's not much you can do about it. I mean, we can start artificially inseminating our women, and then we can go down the fucking Handmaid's Tale here. But the fact is, we're not having kids at the rate we used to, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
I honestly don't think it is.
It's not. It's not. It's better than aborting a bunch of kids. Like, let's just not have them in the first place.
Well,
how about that?
I wish that if we are going to slow down, let's really cherish that resource. Then let's make sure they're taken care of. Let's make sure they're smart. Let's make sure they're educated. Let's not.
Hey, we don't talk about crazy things like that here.
I know.
McShane.
All right.
That's fucking insane. What are you saying? Crazy asshole. Jesus.
All right, let's get in the beer too.
Beer 2. Woo!
Do you want to lead this one off this time?
Dude, I'm excited. Yes, I do. I do. I'm very excited for this beer. So this is from Fort George. This is who canned it, but this is actually a collaboration with Ex Novo. So two of my favorite breweries up here, Fort George and Ex Novo, both of them do such a solid job on the dark stuff. This is called, and this is very fitting for what we were just talking about. This beer is called Dystopian Morning Light. This is a barrel-aged imperial stout aged in Willet and Stag Jr. bourbon barrels, conditioned on cocoa nibs. 12%er It's gonna fucking light me up, and I can't wait. It poured like fucking like La Brea tar pits, man. Like I'm sure there's chunks of bone in this. It is just thick. Like I like my women. Here we go. Oh man.
It's kind of ironic
Wow.
they named it Morning Light.
Yeah. Well, dystopian morning light, which means, nuclear winter,
Oh,
there is no
yeah.
light. Yeah. Oh, good God.
Uh-oh.
Whoa. Okay. Now we're cooking with gas. Chocolate, vanilla, whiskey. That's it. That's all I got. That's what this beer is. Chocolate, vanilla, whiskey in that order.
Really?
Yeah. Really, really not too sweet, just sweet enough. And then that whiskey comes on the back end and is like, "Hey, stop looking at my daughter like that." Really, really good. Oh shit. This one's going to go down nice and easy. Probably too easy for a fucking 12%er. Definitely getting some there's like the really dark cherry prune flavor also on the back end, but that's
Okay.
subtle. That's not up front. But it's definitely there.
Interesting. That's neat. All right.
Okay, man, yeah, that's enjoyable.
And
Very,
that's
that's like,
you said it's a 12%er?
yeah, 12%. That's a complete and total 180 from my last beer. So it's a definitely a welcome change. Not that I didn't enjoy the first beer, I really did, but this is fun.
All right. So I told you I was going to do a 180, right?
Well, you're calling an audible. You did say in the beginning of the show you had a theme, but I'm assuming that theme is out now.
I blew that theme up. I do
Okay,
not want
all right.
another black IPA. I can't
right.
do it tonight. I'm just not going to do it. In
All
fact,
right.
I still haven't finished the first one.
Okay.
This is called Twilight. And here's the catch. I don't know if it is a wine, a sour, a seltzer, or what.
Okay.
They're calling it an ale. Twilight Sparkling Ale, brewed with real peach and apricot. The delightful can of awesome exists somewhere between the glorious revelry of daytime and the mysterious escape of nightfall. Twilight is the magical moment of a suspended time, the blissful bridge between two very different but equally compelling worlds. The first sip signals the beginning of a transcendent journey through a universe of indulgent fruit flavors and aromas. Twilight is a liquid daydream that stirs your sense of wonder like the magical onset of a clear and starry summer night. So there you go.
I had a liquid daydream the other day, and it was awesome.
Do you have to change your pants?
I did. Yeah, twice.
All right, sweet.
It kind of just kept coming.
To answer your question, Aaron, it does sparkle a little bit, not like that unicorn beer that I had months and months and months ago that had actual glitter in it.
Sparkly.
It was very sparkly. Man, it smells like a sour. All right, I'm just gonna try it.
Yeah. Let's see what you got.
There's no sparkling to this. I'm looking for effervescence.
Fucking liars.
Yeah, it's closer to a sour. There's something funky going on there.
Like Funky Called Medina, or
No, like funky gonna get in the way of your Medina.
oh, that's no fun.
God, it's damn near water.
Yeah. See. Yeah. Well, hey.
Fuck. It's
Kudos
totally swung and
kudos to
missed
you
tonight.
kudos for you for trying something
Damn
new.
it. No Christmas tree lighting in California. Did you see that?
Yeah. I did, and why not? Because you're a fucking tool, Gavin. and no one wants to put up with your bullshit. So they rioted over Christmas lighting. And by the way, aren't they still asking people with EVs to not charge them like every other day? But we have enough power for the fucking Christmas lights?
I haven't heard they're doing that again. I know that's happened a couple times though. I mean, that's like one of their go-tos when it's like us saying, "Hey, please, don't use your AC at X time out here."
Right.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they're doing that again, though. That's kind of their thing. Rather than put in actual infrastructure and, actual power plants that can support it.
Yeah, I mean that's that's a ridiculous notion. Once again, you're talking crazy, and I don't like it.
Well, let's kick it out here to Ashley Zavala.
Okay, she's kind of cute.
The change comes as Christmas tree lighting ceremonies across the country have been the target of demonstrations, and some of those demonstrations have turned into disruptions. We're inside of the state capitol rotunda because it looks like this is where the bulk of this year's technical tree lighting ceremony will be, inside instead of outside where the Capitol Christmas tree is. Inside the Capitol rotunda tonight, we saw members of the governor's office setting up to record what looks like a choir. We also spoke to a couple of witnesses who told us the governor and his family recorded their portion of the ceremony here last night. Newsom's office said it will stream the pre-recorded ceremony on its social media platforms tomorrow night. In a statement, a spokesperson for the governor's office said, in part, as we continue to see protests across the country impacting the safety of events of all scales and for the safety and security of all participating members and guests, including children and families, the ceremony will be virtual. We know at least one group planned to protest here to confront the governor and urge him to call for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. Protest organizers told us they are urging the governor to meet with local pro-Palestinian groups. They say it was not their intention to have this live and public event canceled, but to have their voices heard.
Our goal was to make our voice heard and to remind people at the time they're celebrating, people are dying. As a matter of fact, people in Gaza are being killed as we're speaking, and they're being killed on our dime, in our name. And this should be very troubling to all of us, especially at this time of year. And the fact that our governor did not come out to call for ceasefire and stop for this insanity is very troubling.
So this will be the virtual setting of the 92nd annual Capitol Christmas tree lighting ceremony. We asked the California State Library when the last time this ceremony was not live or in public aside from the pandemic. An official there said there wasn't good, consistent data on the state's tree lighting ceremonies, so it would be hard to find that information.
Oh, Ashley.
How
I know.
It's so bizarre because on the one hand, I'm perfectly fine with them protesting. On the other hand,
they should be able to protest. It's fucking America.
Yes, they should be able to. But why are we allowing this kind of shit to get in the way? It's just I don't know what planet we're on.
I mean, it is bizarre. And we are taking a very, very complex history and set of circumstances that got us here, that so many people are dying in Gaza right now and in Israel. And we are oversimplifying it to just be like, well, you're going to have your silly light, your lighting ceremony, tree lighting ceremony. So we're going to disrupt it so that we can bring attention to the people dying over there. And I'm again, like you said, good for you. You should absolutely be allowed to protest. You should be allowed to bring attention to whatever you need to bring attention to. But do we not have fences anymore? Are we not allowed to, Well, I guess it would be a little anticlimactic. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, but BLM, I mean, you had fences up. Don't go across this fence. Do whatever you want as far as your protests go.
Right.
I mean, to the point that you could evidently burn down a police station. So I guess, that was a little bit different. But you had often you had protest areas to go. And I don't see why this would have been any different. I don't get it. Other than it's California and Governor Newsom's a hack.
Yeah, I mean, that's That's clear. And that's the consensus. And he's like the governor of a state that has more people than most countries. I mean, there's not that many countries that have more people than California.
Yeah. Well, their GDP is bigger than most countries.
Yeah, it's like number 5 on the planet. Crazy.
Well, California targets without gender neutral Target stores. It should have said Target stores. Without gender, I can't talk tonight. Fuck. Gender neutral toys will be fined in 2024. So unless
in other words, yeah.
Go.
No, and I mean, if you're not selling gender neutral toys, you get fined. What is it? $250 for the first violation, $500 for subsequent violations. So what? So you have what do they call those people? Those ghost shoppers, those secret shoppers that come in, and what are they? Are they taking tabs on what toys are there? Like, and what constitutes a gender neutral toy? Like, if you have a deck of Uno, if you have a deck of Uno cards, anybody can fucking play that game. That's gender neutral. It's age neutral. It's transsexual people can play Uno and have a really good time. So, like, what are we talking about?
Is a ball gender neutral?
No, balls are only for boys.
Fuck. I never, this one escapes me also.
Yeah.
This is just bizarre.
It's insanity. It's so stupid. I don't understand. Is this just like a money grab? Like, it's a way for California to meet its tax quotas? It's budget minimums? Because this is insane. I mean, I'm waiting for, here's what I'm waiting for. And yes, Calliope, balls are for everyone. We all enjoy balls. I enjoy balls in my face. I like to play with them. They're great. But I'm waiting for someone to be like, hey, you're selling Barbie dolls, and my trans son, I guess, wants to play with the Barbie dolls, but his friends are making fun of him, and it's your fault, Target. I'm waiting for that ridiculousness, because that's where we're headed here. Like, where you're going to take something that doesn't have to be gender specific in any way. You're going to blame your gender confused 5-year-old and the ridicule that they're going through. You're going to blame that on these big box stores that are just trying to fucking put products out that you'll buy. That's literally all they're doing. That's their living.
Well, tell me this isn't to kill stores, local stores.
Yeah, exactly.
And this isn't to go ahead and make it so that all that's left over is going to be Walmart's and Amazon.
Good God, kill me.
I mean, that's what this is.
Or at least that's all that'll be left in California.
I don't understand this, and and maybe I'm old fashioned that I think that boys and girls can play with blocks and cars and dolls. It doesn't matter.
No, dude. I mean, I've got 3 to 5-year-olds in my program every day, and none of them. I mean, we have things that you might look at it and be like, oh, that might be gender specific, that toy. The fucking 4-year-olds don't care. They just want to be in the same place with their friends.
And they want to be playing with toys.
Yeah. They want to make believe. They want to do fun stuff. You should have seen the boys playing with we have a bunch of My Little Ponies. And the fucking shit they were having these ponies do, like, these were hardcore, like, JSOC My Little Ponies, man. They were special forces My Little Ponies, and it was a fucking rad game. I was like, I want to play, guys. That's cool. So no, kids don't fucking care. Way to make a mountain out of a molehill, fucking Target. I mean, California.
Well, Calliope, as a mother of 7, let the kids play and have fun.
Jesus
that's
Christ.
Really what it is.
Amen.
What articles here really stood out to you out of the ones we've got left here?
Well, we did have a couple of princes die. We had the Prince of
Liechtenstein.
Yeah, and then another prince from the Middle East, wasn't it?
Yeah, UAE, I think. One of the
In the
brothers
same-
of the main prince. Yeah.
Yeah, in the same day. So that was kind of weird. And as I
Yeah.
said to you guys, like if one more prince dies today, I'm gonna fucking lose it. We can't keep losing our beautiful young princes anymore. So that was kind of weird, but we haven't heard anything about it since. You know what? There was one. Oh yeah, can we talk about? Can we get a little more into the weeds on the Venezuela Guyana thing?
We can. And I'm going to do something. I'm going to unveil something here.
Unveil.
Unveil. Did you get to use Grok yet?
No, I have not used Grok.
Okay. So, the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, has announced tonight that the Esquiba region of Western Guyana is now a territory of Venezuela, with a state map being released and oil expeditions said to be in the planning stages. So this is a massive, this is Venezuela taking over that whole region, and there's a ton of oil in there.
And there's also a ton of history behind this. I mean,
right.
Yes, on the face of it, we all know it's about the oil, but this also goes back, I mean, to like the original conquistadors that came down there and started fucking shit up. So for us to just be, again, naive Americans and be like, he can't do that. Dude, shut the fuck up. You have no idea what you're talking about. This goes back not as far as Israel, Palestine, but it goes back. And there's generations of hate and where the lines are fucking drawn on a map kind of stuff going on. And I mean, let's be honest. Isn't this just a power grab because the rest of the world is looking at bigger shit?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially if you've got the Middle East is not going to allow for, they're going to keep jacking up the price on oil, which they said this week that we're probably going to get oil back up to about $100 a barrel.
Jesus.
Yeah. So Venezuela, it's going to look for more oil, and it's still the big dog down there. So you can pretty much bet on it.
Yep.
So I thought this was interesting. Grok is the AI for X, for Twitter.
Yeah.
X Twitter, right? It's still in the beta stages, but the thing that I like about this is that I can be in the app, right? And I've got this AI option, and it's one of the options that come if we're whatever the blue check mark, the premium,
premium
service.
Yeah.
So if I want to research something, I don't want to go out to Chat GPT or something along those lines. I can just go in and I can grab this. Now, so I just typed in the history of Venezuela. Tell me about the history between Venezuela and Guyana. And Grok goes out, and it just is going to go ahead and give me not the full history, but a good summary of it. The history between Venezuela and Guyana is marked by a long-standing border dispute over the Essequibo region, which has been a source of tension between the two countries for over a century. The dispute began in 1814 when Venezuela gained independence from Spain and claimed the Essequibo region as part of the territory. Guyana, on the other hand, was a British colony at the time and also claimed the region as part of its territory. In 1899, the dispute was brought to an international arbitration tribunal, which ruled in favor of Britain and granted the Essequibo region to British Guyana. Venezuela initially accepted the ruling, but later rejected it, claiming that the decision was unfair and that the tribunal had been influenced by the British government. So it goes on and gives more information about that, which I thought was really, really great. But now this is interesting to me. I can go ahead and I can grab more stories that are actually on X and dive into it further if I find somebody who's talking about it or somebody wrote a story on it, and I can dive into it more if I wanted to.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It shouldn't surprise any of us, and it's just a little bit sad that, of course, this all goes back to the sort of the imperialist philosophy that the European countries had back in from the 1600s on into really the early 1900s of these other countries are to be conquered, and the first person there who can stick their flag in a virgin, they win. And it's your country. And meanwhile, some of these civilizations and some of these cultures go back, well, they keep finding more and more shit that like people have been there for way longer than we thought. We thought the upper limit of South America was like maybe 6,000 years ago. They're finding shit in there that they're carbon dating, which carbon dating is not all that reliable, but let's just say that it's a good snapshot. It's a good guess. They're finding ruins that are from like 12 or 13,000 years ago. So these cultures go back so far, and they might have had like tribal territories, but there was no fucking line on a map, or, it might've been like that side of the river's yours, this side of the river's mine. And then the Europeans come in and say, well, nope, we're claiming this land for Spain. We're claiming this land for Britain. And now you two cultures have to hate each other. No matter what the thousands of years of history of cooperation, of whatever was going on between these cultures, now you have to hate each other. And so we're still dealing with the aftermath of that colonist, philosophy now today. And it on the one hand, it just seems so absurd. Like, come on, get the fuck over it. You're not a British Empire or colony anymore. You're not a Spanish Empire colony anymore. Let it go. But nope. Now it's a land grab. Now it's all about the oil.
It's another one of those. I don't know that it's ever going to be fixed, though, right? I mean, this isn't something that's ever going to really go away. I know this is at world courts, which I don't even know what kind of power those even have anymore. It seems like they get ignored most of the time. Yeah, I can't argue with it. Yeah, it's totally a land grab. It's just like what's happening in Gaza. We established that last month, I think, when we were talking about you've got over 500 billion in oil that's sitting below Gaza, plus it's prime territory for a new canal to go through, the Ben Gurion Canal. So I think we're at that one of those points in times where, we're going to keep seeing a lot of land grabs. We're going to continue to see lots of disputes. And I wouldn't, Ukraine and Russia, I still think that's one of them, since Ukraine's a huge breadbasket. I don't think that's going to go away. I really don't.
You know what I want to see? I'd like to see, I know you remember the movie Braveheart. We all remember the movie, and love it, hate it, whatever. I mean, I loved it at the time. Since I've grown up a little bit, become a little bit more aware, globally aware, it had some propaganda bullshit to it. But on the whole, I think Mel Gibson did a great job, right? But there's a scene where the British fucksticks, they get the Scottish cavalry. Right, the guys who are rich enough to own horses and land, they get them to be on their side, and they're gonna charge in at this Scottish foot army, and then they also have the Irish coming in, and so you have these armies charging and everybody's screaming, and then all of a sudden they meet in the middle, and everybody like gives hugs and shakes hands, and then they all turn around and say "fuck you" to the British. Right. We need a moment like that, where all of us where we somehow con them all into thinking like, I'm totally going to get your shot, and I'm totally going to obey your 15-minute cities, and I'm totally signing up for the CBDCs. And then on the day that I'm supposed to go and sign up for all this shit, I actually show up with 700,000 of my closest friends, and we all turn around and we say, fuck you, we're not doing it. We're pulling all of our money out of the bank today, and you're fucked. Go eat shit. That's what I want. I want this moment of just global clarity where we all realize that 99.9% of us are being fucked over by the 0.1%, and it needs to stop. We need this moment where some of the finest people who have ever lived on this planet need to all come together, and instead of fighting each other, we need to hug it out. We need to fucking smack each other in the face and say, okay, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. And actually take our anger out on those that are making the bullshit policies. I don't know. That scene, for whatever reason, that scene keeps coming to my mind as I see these stories about border disputes and brothers killing brothers. And Jesus Christ, when's it going to stop?
It's only going to stop when Conor McGregor becomes the president of Ireland.
Conor McGregor. This fucking guy. God, he's somebody that if I grew up with him, I would have hated him because I couldn't have been his friend. No way. He's just too far out there. But he's just somebody you love to hate, but you also hate that you love him.
Right.
And yeah, he's talking about running.
So at least he's passionate about his country. I mean, you know that.
For sure.
Right?
For sure. Yeah. And and concurrent with this story, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, actually met with some really high level fucking defense people today. Or no, this week. I think it was maybe Thursday. So imagine we live in a world where Conor McGregor is the president of Ireland and The Rock is the president of the United States. What are we talking about?
It's idiocracy. We're
totally
finally, and we're pretty close to being there, but we're finally like this is where we need to get to for that.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you think any of that was actually real? Because that was really strange with The Rock at the Pentagon.
That was strange. And and also he was on Joe Rogan. If it wasn't this week, it was like the end of last week. So very recently he was on Rogan, which is, again, I mean, if we're talking about media giants, it doesn't get any bigger than Rogan. He's got 6 million listens every fucking episode. And some of his episodes top 15 million. So like none of us are even close to that. And so if you go on that show, it's almost like, remember back in the day, if you made it to the Tonight Show, that was like your christening. Like you got knighted. Like, okay, you've made it because you made it to the Tonight Show. Johnny Carson laughed at your jokes. You were in. And so it almost feels like going on Rogan is kind of like that too. Like you're getting the eyes and ears of at least 6 million people on your on whatever it is you have to say. And then shortly after he goes to the Pentagon. That's very strange. Mm-hmm. Very strange.
Yep. Well, that's what we're talking about when you're talking about narratives. That's a test balloon that they threw up on Rogan. Right.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
And I listened to that interview, and they did mention it. Rogan brought it up. He's like, "Hey, you've been talked about for being president," and they laughed, haha, joke, haha. And Dwayne Johnson said exactly what he's supposed to say, which is, listen, that's incredibly humbling. If the powers that be wanted me to run, I would consider it. That's what he said. And then 3 days later, he's at the fucking Pentagon. So we may actually see that, dude. We may actually see that.
We had, when the Maui thing happened, right? We had him and Oprah. Then about 3 months later, he was the one who apologized for doing a shitty job.
Yes, he did.
Then he goes on Rogan like a couple weeks later, and now he's at the Pentagon. So he's not been out of the news cycle. He's not falling out of the news cycle. So now we got to see what's going to happen next.
And you know what? I find it hard to hate him. I find it hard to, but that actually scares me, right? Because because maybe if he's the perfect candidate, whatever. I mean, who's pulling those strings? Who's bought and paid for him?
How did people feel when Obama went in?
I know.
It was hard to hate him too.
I know.
Little did we know that he was just as bad as everybody else.
He's an evil motherfucker, yeah. So, I don't know. Very strange stuff. And I mean, Conor McGregor's the same way. He's charismatic. He's a hard fucking worker. Listen, both of these guys, one thing you can't take away from them, no matter what happens from here on out, both of these guys grew up dirt fucking poor. Like, they know what it's like to not know where the next meal's coming from and to some nights go to bed hungry. I will give them both that. They both know this. And it is their motivation. It's what gets them the fuck up at 4 a.m. to go train harder than anybody listening to this podcast. So, like, I get it. And you have my respect for that quality alone. But that's also a danger, because then you're susceptible to being bought out. To like, hey, we're going to take care of you and your grandchildren's grandchildren. if you just sign on the dotted line. It makes you vulnerable. Your strength makes you vulnerable. And so I for both of them, I would just say, like, hey, don't let your abject poverty that you grew up in, because I've been caught up by it too. I grew up poor too. And I have moments where I'm tempted by money when I shouldn't be. When it looks like it's compromising my morals, or it's I go, well, yeah, but I'm taken care of. That's a dangerous thing.
So we're gonna have to keep an eye on both of those. I don't know. It's always can be who's pulling the strings, like what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's kind of gonna be the catch there. We're gonna have to see what happens with that. How do you like the the historic protest at Washington Post?
Dude, I'll tell you my favorite part about this story was the Babylon Bee and what their response was to this, which is that all of our editors stand with the fake journalists over at the WAPO. I mean, it was brilliant.
Oh, it was
so well done. Yeah, they totally killed it. But that aside, I mean, that was the best part of this whole thing. I would like to know what it is. Number one, what it is they're taking exception to finally. And I know some of it's the ESPN thing, that there's like, AI bots writing stories, but there's something else at play here. And so I don't understand fully what they're pissed off about, but also do you really think WAPO can't function without you? I mean, you have a bunch of, well, okay, go ahead. I'll stop.
Here, let's listen.
I have risked my life on the front lines of war.
I've covered an insurrection,
a global pandemic,
historic racial justice protests, climate change,
and gun violence in America.
I work hard to make sure you know exactly what's going on in our DC community.
To hold powerful institutions to account.
And to bring you the latest visuals from around the globe.
And I'm worth a fair and transparent pay process.
I'm worth a living wage.
I'm worth raises that keep up with inflation.
I'm worth equal pay to my colleagues, regardless of my race or gender.
I'm worth job protections that value my years of service.
We've been in contract negotiations for 18 months.
And our bosses have refused to bargain in good faith.
They have failed to offer us a fair deal that keeps pace with the economy and our competitors.
So on Thursday, I'm walking off the job.
I am walking off the job.
For 24 hours.
With hundreds of my Washington Post colleagues.
Because we're worth more.
Worth more.
Worth more. Worth more than what the company is offering.
If you love Washington Post journalism and the people who make it,
you can support us by
sending a letter to our publisher through the link in our caption or our bio.
And respecting our picket line by avoiding Washington Post journalism during our 24-hour walkout.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for...
It's ironic that the guy who does the audio for Washington Post is the worst audio there.
Oh my God. It's terrible. And God, I hear you, and I also don't give a shit about you. First of all,
it's the worst. Go ahead. Sorry.
No.
Awful.
How ironic is it that they're like, well, we want our pay to be able to keep up with inflation. You fucksticks were part of selling the narrative that inflation was just this thing that popped up that no one saw coming. You're the ones that tried to convince the American public that inflation wasn't the absolute direct influence of the Fed, of our American government in bed with the Fed. You can't print $14 trillion and not expect some inflation. But they were out there saying, no one saw this coming, and Obama's doing everything. Biden's doing everything he can. And now you're upset because your salary's not keeping up with 14, 15, 16% inflation since Biden took over. Sorry, ass fuck. You're the one that helped us all buy this shit. And now so fuck off. I have no heart for any of those people, and I'm sorry. Maybe if I met them on the street and I had to put a few coins in their can, maybe I would care then. But right now, you're part of the fucking problem. So, I mean, go eat shit. Go kick rocks. I don't know.
So we talk about this constantly. You can't find a mainstream media outlet that is legit. Period. There isn't one. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on.
Yeah.
There's none.
Yeah.
For 750 workers, which hey, you want to get paid more, so do I. Right there with you. You want a fair workplace, me too. I think you should do whatever you got to do. It's fine. But it's a garbage publication, and every one of those people contribute to it being a garbage publication.
Yep.
And
yeah, I mean, garbage in,
you
can
virtue signal all you want. You can raise your awareness. It doesn't change the fact that their Washington Post is probably better off that they all walked out. And 24 hours is not a strike.
No.
That's not a strike. That's not how a union operates. That's, well, hey, you've been mean to us. We're going to go take a day off. We're going to go and we'll make some signs because everybody else is doing it. We'll go ahead and we'll be out front for a few hours, and then we'll go grab a coffee and have a good, and then take the rest of the day off.
That's all it was an unpaid day off. Like, please respect our picket lines while we're picketing. You're not picketing. You're home. You're at home with your fucking kids. Let's be honest.
What impact does that have? Fuck all.
Well, yeah, none. I mean, because I think the WAPO executives are like, just have ChatGPT write a few articles. Just to keep
you could do that, right?
A day. Easily. And it'd probably be better. It'd definitely be better writing. And it would be perfectly in line. Perfectly in line. Perfect words chosen for the powers that be and what the message they want to get out there. You don't have to deal with any disgusting opinions from your writers. You can just type it in exactly as you want.
Let's try something real quick.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to use Grok real quick. Oh, it's still working. Stop it.
Also the production quality of that dumb little fucking video you just showed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was not like a bunch of, quote unquote workers who were like fucking pissed and we're done. This was, hey, I need you to wear your best pantsuit on Monday because we're going to make a video about how you're going to be gone off of work for a day.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, so then these people show up and they're like, I need to be valued as the individual I am. And you're dressed in a fucking $300 pantsuit with a $200 turtleneck. That's not, I have zero sympathy for you. None. That's not how you get sympathy.
No, it's not. But that's what this generation of workers thinks is. And it's just surreal. Now, I just had Grok write a 1,000-word media story on The Rock. Write me a 1,000-word media story on The Rock meeting at the Pentagon from this week. Okay? And it cranked one out, and it looks pretty much as good as what a New York Times article or a WAPO article would look like.
WAPO, yep.
Probably in a surprising turn of events this week, Hollywood star and former professional wrestler Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson met with high-ranking officials at the Pentagon. The meeting, which took place on Monday, December 9th, 2023, has sparked curiosity and speculation among the public and media alike. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, known for his successful acting career and charismatic persona, has recently been the subject of rumors regarding a potential presidential run. This speculation was further fueled by a recent interview in which Johnson confirmed that the parties were interested in him as a candidate.
Yeah,
sorry, WAPO.
Yeah.
And that sucks. That really and truly sucks that you can be replaced that easily by an AI. But you're also shitty.
Right.
So,
which I mean, right, because here's the thing, and I'm not elevating Whiskey Hell to some, but I'm saying that any of the podcasts, in our podcasting community. I mean, you're talking about, Grace Tap Room. I had to say it. Any of the podcasts that I listen to that are out there grinding, and there's not an AI that can do what we do. There's not.
No.
There's no way an AI could duplicate a McShane and a Fitz and how we interact and the crazy shit that comes out of my fucking mouth. You can't do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely
and
not.
So how sad is it that you went to school for journalism? You studied this. You've practiced. You've written probably 500,000 words in your career, and you are replaceable by a fucking Grok, by a Chat GPT. Like, I'm sorry, that's sad.
And
you can't do it.
Let's make sure. Here's the beauty of this, right? So we go out and we do our own homework, right? Nobody's telling us what to write, right? Joe does his show. Nobody's telling Joe how to do his show. Aaron has his show. Nobody's telling Aaron what to put on there, right? These are all things that we want to talk about. We feel the need to talk about. Let's not let the Washington Post off the hook that they're told what to write.
You bet.
They're paid to write certain things. So when it comes to these little temper tantrums, you work for a horrible entity. Okay, you work for a company. It shouldn't be shocking that they treat you like this.
No, I mean, you sold out. Let's call it what it is.
You sold out. Yes.
You sold your soul. You're fucking Faust, man. So don't be surprised when the devil comes for his due, because you sold out.
All right. Hey, do not. I know we've got a lot of people who are going to be traveling this holiday season. I want to make sure that you guys are being careful out there. Please do not smuggle otters and prairie dogs in your pants. That's bad.
I don't. Oh, go ahead. Let's listen to the story. I don't understand. Please help me understand.
Authorities busted a guy who was attempting to smuggle 2 otters and a prairie dog through the airport in his trousers. The 22-year-old Taiwanese traveler had reportedly bought these animals at a market in Bangkok. Then he proceeded to stuff them in his underwear before arriving at the airport on December 5th. He was reportedly slated to fly a Thai Airways flight to Taipei, Taiwan. However, authorities noticed something was a bit awry after they spotted an unusually large bulge wobbling about below his waist. He'd been harboring 2 Asian small-clawed otters and a prairie dog. So in the accompanying video, he can be seen being forced to cut a hole in his trousers, whereupon he then extracts the critter-filled stockings, and then they're seen wriggling about in the bin in their respective socks. It may seem a little humorous, but it actually is quite a serious issue. The Asian small-clawed otter is actually the smallest of the 13 species, and it is listed as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Meanwhile, the prairie dog, which is a burrowing rodent that resides in the U.S. grasslands, are also considered at risk, with 2 of the 5 species being listed as endangered. Following his debriefing, the smuggler was detained at the airport and now faces charges of violating Thailand's Customs Act. Animals, meanwhile, were rescued and handed over to the Wildlife Conservation Office.
I can't tell you how many times I've been pulled over by TSA for a wiggling bulge in my pants. I mean, it's pretty much every time I fly, and God damn it, why didn't I think of this? Like, oh no, officer, that's not that. It's just an otter. Here, take the otter. It's not my gigantic member, because they all want to see it, and then they want to take selfies with it, and
right.
It becomes a calamity, and it's embarrassing.
Is that an otter in your pants, or are you just happy to see me?
Are you just happy to see me? Oh fuck, I don't know. You know what? That journalist is right. It is funny on the surface, but those poor little animals, you could see when he took them out of there, they were cramped and like they could barely move when they got out. That's not okay, dude. whatever you were gonna get paid for this, that's not okay.
That was pretty horrible. I mean, that's
Jesus. And on top
dark.
of like, what if he's gassy? What if he has a smelly taint? I mean, those poor animals.
What beer are you taking to bed?
Oh shit. God, they were both so polar opposites of each other and so different. I'm tempted to ask for a threesome, but I don't think these two will. I don't think they like each other. I think one's a fucking like preppy little, blonde law student. And the other one's like a dark goth girl who only comes out, on the full moon. And she's hoping that she can find someone to sacrifice to the gods. So they won't get along. But I'm gonna have to go with the goth girl. I'm going with the dystopian morning light. What a well done imperial stout. And again, I know, full disclaimer, that's the kind of beer I love and that I look for, that McShane loves and looks for. But on top of that, it was just a really fucking well done beer. And by the way, the can art is just outstanding. It's a beautiful can. So really complex beer. They both were complex. Like, no masturbating while you drive on this one. You got to keep all focus on the wheel and eyes forward. But I'm taking the Fort George and Ex Novo collaboration. Very, very enjoyable beer. What about you? What are you taking to bed?
Neither.
Really?
I don't want to take either one to bed. I don't want to have anything to do with them. Like, these are dates that I would have walked out on.
Well, that's saying something.
And that's saying something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't.
Right.
I can't.
All
I
right.
can't do it. I just. I'm finally going here. Hold on a sec. Let's try something. No. I still hate that. I still hate that dark IPA.
Oh, you went back to it to try it?
Well, yeah. I let it warm up even.
Yeah.
I just let it go ahead and do its thing, and I still can't stand it. So. Nope. So there you go. The other one was like water. The Twilight. It was like flavored water, and I'm shocked because that's Almanac Brewing, and that's the worst Almanac I've ever had. And
Yeah.
Hands bar none. Just brutal.
Well, it's been a while.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we both had those shows where
Totally.
you just, everything you try is just a dud. But generally what happens, now here's the silver lining. Generally what happens is the following show, because of your experience tonight, you will pick 2 fucking home runs.
I will recover. I will survive.
Yeah, exactly. You'll find something that'll make up for this.
Yep. All right. That is going to wind things up. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, it's at whiskey_hell. You guys can download us. You're already listening, so you guys can download us pretty much anywhere. whiskeyhellpod.com is the website. So thank you to everybody who is online with us tonight.
Yeah.
We had Elle, Joe, Aaron, Calliope was in here for almost the whole show, which was awesome. She must have been a quiet night in the ER. And Tabby was in for a while. So thank you very much for sticking around with us and listening in.
Yeah. And on behalf of both McShane and Hefe, all of Whiskey Hell, we love every one of you guys for tuning in to us every week. We're literally just 2 everyday guys just talking through the news. This is our therapy. And the fact that you all want to join in and help us in our therapy, we can't thank you enough. So we love every one of you, and you're why we keep doing the show. So Whiskey Hell Nation.
All right. I'm Steve McShane.
And I'm Fitz.
We'll talk to you soon.